This is MrSoichiro, and I've been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition over the past couple weeks now. Um, I haven't really commented on any. I don't think I've talked about this at all. Been going mic free for a little while. Just timing hasn't been right, but I have a little time today. Probably get in about 45 minutes to an hour. I'll keep this introduction short because obviously these are very large games. There are three that I need to get through. I think they kind of escalate in length with each iteration. But I beat Mass Effect 1, and I won't get too much into it, just because I'm short on time. But I enjoyed it. I think the story was excellent. Obviously it's a pretty old game, so some gameplay elements are, they're a little archaic. We've definitely, as a, from a gaming development and conceptual standpoint, games have evolved a lot since then. And there've been evolutions just in this series, so gameplay wise, there've been some pretty big jumps between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, like level design. Obviously it looks incredible. There's some pretty impressive set pieces that they've created. Character designs, just everything is just kind of bigger and better. Story, I think, is still pretty excellent. I like this whole Dirty Dozen concept where you're traveling the galaxy, picking up different crew members, and they're different. It's different archetypes. Like the first game had particular types of characters, and this game, I feel like there are a lot more shades of gray, a lot more a lot more negative traits to your crew members. Like you could even consider some of the things that they've done like pretty evil. Morden in particular, he's this Solarian, I think they're called, is the alien race, Solarian scientist, who basically worked on the genophage. Sorry, this is getting so nerdy. But if you're watching this, you're probably pretty nerdy. So the Krogans, this amphibious slash reptilian race of alien creatures, had this what they call a genophage introduced into their biological system, which prevented them from successfully reproducing. So only one out of every 1,000 pregnancies comes to term, I think, something like that. It was a way to control their population against their will. It's just it's essentially like a mass genocide, against this species. And this one of your crew members took part of that. Maybe not the first wave, but the second wave of genophage that they created. Anyway, just a few quick thoughts about Mass Effect 2, which I'm playing right now. I'm about 18 hours in. Again, yeah, definitely enjoying it. The combat's better. They really refined and took out some stuff that was kind of dead weight. The resource system is a lot easier to manage. The upgrade system's easier to manage. Leveling up is better, I think. Just all around, they just kind of a lot of little tweaks and refinements that make this game, in my opinion, superior to the previous one, which was pretty damn good in my opinion, especially for the time that it came out. The story, the atmosphere, the lore, I think that's really the showcase of this game. It's a BioWare game, so if you played Dragon Age or Knights of the Old Republic, I guess this, from a BioWare perspective, this is probably one of their more famous games, probably the one that people have played the most, or at least this series. But yeah, they have these relationships they'll put into the game, and not just romantic relationships, but you'll build in this game there's a loyalty setting So you complete quests for certain characters, and then they become loyal to you. It opens up like additional abilities. Like that's pretty cool. And there is like um, a romantic element to, I think, in pretty much every game. I know in the first one for sure, which I felt like I was kind of railroaded into this like romantic path. Like all of a sudden I was just in a romantic relationship with this person. It was weird. I thought I was making, I wasn't like really committed, one way or the other. I was kind of indifferent on the romantic dialogue choices, and I just ended up like, oh my god, these two characters are like flirting or whatever. It was completely unintentional. Um, so I think there's something like that in this game. I don't think I progressed far enough from a loyalty standpoint. But I can tell from the trophies for this game that you can either rekindle an old relationship or develop a new one. That's a trophy for this game. Not for this game specifically, but for the Legendary Edition bundle. Having said that, like some of the relationship stuff maybe is a little outdated. I feel like, and it's like just a tiny bit distracting, like the horniness of Commander Shepard, like and his workplace inappropriateness, like the fact that he has the option to hook up with different people within on his spaceship, and he's the commander. Like that threw me off a little bit the first time it kind of came up as an option. So yeah, that threw me for a loop. And one other thing that kind of stuck in my craw a little bit was there's this DLC. All the DLCs included with Legendary Edition, so you don't have to get anything else. It's all there. And there's this one DLC for Mass Effect 2, which I just completed a couple day or two ago. And I had read about this. I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other. It wasn't a topic that was really, close to me or that I had a real understanding of. But yeah, it focuses on this like rogue hybrid VI is their term for like AI, basically virtual intelligence. It's what they call, essentially what we refer to as an AI. So it involves this like rogue VI, but it's not just a VI. It's a VI that's been intertwined with the consciousness of a human being. And that's kind of what going into the mission. You're supposed to like shut it down somehow. You're told early on that this hybridization is from an experiment. This guy's brother, basically, and you're under the impression that he entered into this experiment willingly. And turns out he was an unwilling participant. On top of that, he's on the autistic spectrum, basically. And I won't go too much into it or rehash it. You can read about it or you can watch my playthrough of it. But I don't think they handled it really well. They kind of dehumanize the autistic character. The whole story or the consequences of the story are told through the point of view of like basically the person who's torturing him, and it basically amounts to torture at the end. Like you find this guy and he's got like metal tubes running through his body, and like his eyes are held open like Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange. Like it's kind of ridiculous. And I think this was a really good point in this. I think it was like a Vice article I read or something. It was like it was frustrating to the player that you don't have an option to outright denounce these actions. Like all of your options in concluding the quest are pretty like soft reactions. It's like you can let them continue, you can leave him in the hands of his torturer, and he promises he won't continue the torture, but I would assume he would. And when I say torture, I mean his experimentation. But that, as part and parcel to that, is like the inhuman treatment of this human or this living thing, living person, human, alien, whatever you want to, frame it as. Like, this person is being tortured. And the other option is, well, we'll take him off your hands and take him to a special school where he'll be taken care of. But he doesn't really, Shepard doesn't address any consequences for Cerberus. That's the agency that you're like working for, that is taking part in this, you know, horrible, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just this atrocious act that they're committing against this human being. Like, I was hoping for like a renegade option or something where I could just like put a gun to this guy's head. Like, as Shepard, you could do some pretty trifling things, and like you just don't have an option to exact justice or, you know, even express a really strong sentiment about it. I think there's like one dialogue option where you like say what you're doing is an atrocity, and that's it. Anyway, I don't think that story would have been written or would have gotten through, you know, in 2021. I think, you know, well, I think we know as a society just a lot more about autism, but you know, even back then, I feel like the way that character was treated was pretty archaic, and you know, maybe that's just the state of video games at the time. Like, they've matured a lot. Like, the games that we're getting now have a lot more depth, and like, not all of them, to be fair. Anyway, that's kind of a long rant. It threw me off, like when they interjected that element and they're like, yes, my brother is autistic, or didn't even say that, he said he has an autistic mind. Like, okay, that's an interesting way to put it. And then you know, he's like, he doesn't think like a human, he's basically a living computer. Like, of course, you know, in anytime autism addressed in fiction, it's like he's a savant, you know, he has this disability, but he's also a genius, you know, rather than just address, you know, it's rare, but it happens. So from a representation standpoint, I think they could have done a better job of treating that character with a little more respect. Anyway, maybe they just should have left that DLC out or changed it, like rewrote it a little bit. Man, I am wasting so much time. I don't even know where I am. I'm on my spaceship, the Normandy 2. Original Normandy was destroyed and they put it back together. Cerberus, the organization that Shepard is begrudgingly working for, at least my version of Shepard is begrudgingly working for. So here's one little part of the game that's a little different from Mass Effect 1. To gather resources to purchase upgrades, you have to go through this whole like scanning process. It's just this like little mini game. You can't lose it. You can certainly waste these probes, these resources that you consume basically to mine for resources. Those are consumed and those can be wasted. That's kind of like the strategy of this, like how to get as many resources as possible from a single probe, because the probes are finite. You have to buy them with like credits, I guess. I think it's credits. I could probably do without this whole like mining mini game. I know it's optional, but it's not particularly fun, and I feel like it's kind of time consuming. I'd rather be in combat, to be honest. And even the combat, like, it's just balanced the right amount where I feel like there's just enough of it. It's not too easy, it's not too hard on the normal setting. You have to use a little bit of strategy, not too much. I think that was a failing of the first Mass Effect. It was like, well, I have all these abilities and powers and stuff like that, but, you know, I'll just treat this like a third-person shooter and I'll be more than adequately prepared to take on any challenge.
Probe launched.
There were a couple battles I had to replay because I got caught off guard, or you know, I fell in a ditch or something. Oh, and those thresher moths, those were so annoying. Worth it, because they gave you like a crap load of experience.
Launching probe.
But yeah, and like this whole thing, it's just kind of mindless. It's but I feel like if I skip it, I'll get into a position where I won't have enough resources to like upgrade something. And like the whole upgrade system, you have to find like upgrade schematics in like basically, I guess what you would call treasure chests hidden throughout the world. I do like the item management system a lot better. Like they've just simplified things a lot. That was a wasted probe. That's probably, I'll do that one. It would be nice if you could get like an upgrade. I did get an upgrade to my scanner, but I don't know really what effect it had. Did it like widen the range of this thing or something? The detection range? And when it gets down to like the scanner results equal to poor, I'm just like, I'm scraping these scraps. Like, I mean, at this point, if it says poor, maybe I should just bail. But I usually go until it's completely depleted.
Probe launched.
And I'm like running over the same old lines. Got a little bump there. Oh, and there's like there's like feedback in the controller to let you know like when you're close to something. Alright, where am I? Where did I leave off last night? Ah, fuel depot. I'm all fueled up. Let's buy some probes. Explore planets. So there's like 3 more planets I gotta do this whole scanning minigame. And like, I love that they have all these like little codex entries for every single planet. And I think they're more interesting than in the first game. They put a little more time into writing them. And they're a little more diverse. But yeah, there's so many of them. It gets kind of old, and I'm not really reading them very thoroughly anymore. I'm just like kind of skimming them for the main points that they're trying to make. Occasionally you'll read one and you'll get like a little bit of like Krogan lore, or like get a better understanding of like how the Quarians live or something like that. The history of the known galaxy. But sometimes they're just like, it's another gas giant and it's got cobalt and beryllium and phosphorus. And you're like, oh, okay, you're just naming chemicals. And that's fine. They don't all have to be winners. But it's hard to know before you start reading the codex entry if it's going to be interesting or not. So I'm not reading them as carefully as I was. It's the bottom line. Scanner results are poor. It's probably so boring to watch too. And like every time I throw a probe, I'm like, please be depleted. Please be depleted. I mean, it gets to the point you enter a solar system and you only see like one planet, and you're overjoyed. Like, I don't have to go mining a bunch of stupid planets. Oh, what was this? That's good enough.
Launching probe.
There we go. Alright. Metaponto, what's next? Plus I have this fear that I'll miss something interesting, like a side quest, or occasionally, I think this has only happened once or twice, I've stumbled onto like a world that has, you know, a side quest associated with it or something that's not listed on the map. Alright, this is different. Let me read this a little bit. That's interesting.
Launching probe. Launching probe. Probe launched. Probe launched.
Still good scanner results, so there's probably 4 or 5 more of these. That'll meet the plant, if not more.
Probe launched. Launching probe.
The other kind of pain in the ass is the finite number of probes you can carry. I think you can increase that with like an upgrade maybe. But yeah, you know, you exhaust all of your probes on a planet before you're done mining it. You want to finish the mining, so you gotta leave. Sometimes you have to leave the solar system, go to another solar system within that galaxy cluster. Yeah, it's just... And then you gotta go to the fuel depot. You go to like 2 solar systems within a cluster and you're pretty much out of fuel.
Probe away.
Or at least on the way there. I don't know what happens when you run out of fuel. I'm kind of curious to find out. I might just do it on purpose. But it might just be like an endgame scenario. Which is fine. It's not hard to keep your ship fueled up. And there's no real like risk reward to pushing that to its limit.
Probe away.
Yeah, that's the thing from like a design standpoint, like all this stuff is just adding a menial task. It's not, there's no gamification of it. Like me making the choice to push forward through the solar system without getting gas. There's no like reward to it. I might as well just turn around. All I'm doing is saving time. And this game is like, you know, 30, 40 hours probably. So it's not worth wasting like a potential endgame state. You just turn your ass around and go back. Fill up on fuel, get some probes. Oh, what's this? Oh, please be depleted. Thank you. Alright, just 2 more of these. Vecchio. See, I like that second paragraph is good, and that's unique to this planet. I think that's interesting. In the original game, you would scan a planet and you would get like a little text like that. Like, oh, you scanned the planet and you found like mass graves or something, and you know, that you also gathered like a Turian medallion, and it's this resource that you're collecting. That whole like collection mini game from the first game is all but gone.
Launching probe.
That felt kind of unrewarding too. So in the first game, you have all these like little side missions to collect like resources, not to do upgrades or whatever, just to collect them. And you can kind of complete some or part of these missions piecemeal. So like one of the resource missions was like gather 20 hydrogens, gather 20 heavy metals or something like that. But it was, you know, 4 parts of a larger mission, and you'd finish 1 or 2 of them. I never finished the whole thing. And then there were these other things like
Launching probe.
gather Asari technology or Turian medallions or something like that. And you do it, and you finish it, and you get like experience, and like that's pretty much it. I think for something like that where you collect something, maybe you get something interesting like a permanent buff or a collectible for the Normandy. I think Mass Effect 2 is doing a better job about that, having more variety in the things that you can collect, the unique items that you can add to your ship, for example.
Launching probe.
Like you can buy all these decorations for the Normandy's captain's chambers. So I bought like a fish. I have a space hamster. I think it's just the right amount. They don't overdo it. I'm not buying like hundreds of little customizable pieces for my character. Which wouldn't be terrible, but it might not be a good fit for this type of game. Turn this into an MMO. Oh, I need more probes. So annoying. Yeah, I think it's credits. So what do we got? We got like another 30 minutes. Tops. Last sip of coffee. Alright. Oh, it was so close. It was like over here somewhere, wasn't it? Yeah, don't have to keep letting me know how this works. This was the one I was trying to get.
Launching probe.
There we go. Went from good to poor. That's what I wanted. Yeah, this should have just been like a one-click thing. You go to a planet. You shouldn't have to like scour the surface with this whole scanning thing. It's just
Probe away.
boring. Depleted. I don't know. Hopefully they take this out in Mass Effect 3. Poor little by way of natural resources, but I'm gonna scan it because I'm trying to get every single resource in the galaxy.
Probe away.
Watch me get to the end of this game and have like all these unused resources. One thing I noticed in bringing a character over from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, which is an awesome concept, by the way. Have all your like choices from, not all of your choices, but many of your choices from the previous game are reflected in this game. I think that's pretty cool. Encourages a second chaotic playthrough. Oh, and you know, here's a note regarding my choice of Shepard. I basically flipped a coin.
Probe away.
I want to play as FemShep. My understanding is that the vocal performance, the VA performance is amazing. One for the ages. Jennifer Hale, I believe, has a stellar reputation for her performance in this game. And I really loved her reaction to the Legendary Edition announcement, and I thought like FemShep was like part of the marketing. For those that don't know, FemShep is the kind of fan culture nickname for the female version of Commander Shepard, and you can customize his or her look, so she doesn't have to look a particular way. Same for him, the male version. I think it's a pretty good character creator. It doesn't go too overboard. I think the
Launching probe.
like the Bethesda approach is cool. You can really get very specific with how your character looks. I think there's almost too much choice, and you end up spending like the first hour of the game in the character creator if you want to. I'm playing so many games nowadays, and there's so many goddamn character creators that I end up kind of just randomizing it to a certain extent, unless even if it looks really weird, like I let it go, because that becomes your character. And more and more I want to play these as characters instead of just, oh, what would I do? The first Mass Effect game, I think I was sticking a little closer to the what would I do if I was in that position. And the more that I kind of sit with this version of Commander Shepard, I'm kind of reacting in ways that I think he would react in.
Probe launched.
Helps maintain the illusion. Still kind of leaning Paragon. And it's nice, like, not all the actions are, black and white. There's some times where, I'll pick the obvious renegade choice, and I'm like, that's not too bad. That's kind of reasonable. That gets the job done, so to speak. So I'm probably doing, I think the options in this game are a little more nuanced than in the first. In the first, it's like pretty obvious which options are Paragon and which ones are Renegade. The parlance of Star Wars, like it's light and dark side. Ugh, this one is really getting on my nerves. Guess I'll shoot one here. Thank God. Alright, that's all the ones in this stars in this solar system. Yeah, I just realized I was in the middle of a game on my phone that I never finished. Let's just pause that for a second. For pretty much all my decisions, like which star system to go to, where I don't really care which order I do them in, I am flipping a coin. Or I'm asking random.org to make the decision for me. Alright, so this solar system, Faya, help Zaid. He's a merc that's part of my crew that I picked up on Omega. The Omega space station. It's like built into this asteroid. He has a little side quest. I guess if you complete it, you increase the loyalty. I forget exactly what the details are, because it's like he's the first crew member that I picked up on this greater mission that I'm on. We got three crew members on Omega, if I recall. When you find out who Archangel is one of the characters you're supposed to pick up, and he turns out to be Garrus, this character from the previous game, who was a member of your crew. I started to suspect that he was Archangel. Didn't like hit me in the face. They do a little foreshadowing, but when they mention that he's a Turian, I'm like, oh, I wonder if. And then it's revealed pretty shortly after that that it's Garrus. I thought it was pretty cool. It was a nice little reveal, a good callback to the previous game. He hasn't been super chatty with me. I've been like hitting up my crew like after every mission. Do you want to talk now? Do you want to talk now? Let's talk about our feelings. And everybody's just blowing me off. Not everybody, but. And I don't know how you move, how you progress those story markers for the individual characters around. Like I'm making a lot of assumptions about how it progresses. So it could be triggered, and I'm not kind of like impacted one way or the other, but I'm basically checking with them after every kind of like main quest mission. Not a side quest, but if I complete a main quest mission or I add a new character to the crew, then I'll go around the crew and I'll talk to everyone and see if they have anything new to say.
Probe away.
I've always liked that aspect of these types of games, like building the relationships and getting their backstories, learning a little bit more about them. I think it makes the like combat missions more enjoyable. I'm like, I understand a little bit more about this person. They're not just an empty vessel with a pistol to like give me cover. This new character, Kasumi, I just completed her side mission, and she's a really good teammate. I think well suited for my style. Like I'm big on cover, and I like sniping. If my opponent is at distance and taking cover, I love that.
Launching probe.
I try and mix in some abilities, trying to. I don't know if I see people with shields or armor, like that's something. I think I got that pretty well worked out. I can switch ammo types and try and deplete their armor a little quicker. And I guess fire works well against armor, so. That's one interesting thing about this. Like, I think with your more traditional fantasy-based role-playing games, the established like combat mechanics, like how things react, the element system is, you know, you're fighting an ice monster, so you want to use fire, or you know, you're fighting a troll and you want to use fire. Like trolls are weak against fire. Like that's just something inherently that you understand. It's a little different in this science fiction environment. You know, you have to pay attention a little bit. They're consistent with their ideas in game, but still, you have to have some awareness about what you're being told. So, you know, you find out from reading the codex that fire works well against armor, and disruptor ammo works well against artificials, so like mechs and synths and stuff like that.
Launching probe.
So I haven't been in an encounter yet where I'm like completely puzzled by it, or I've hit a brick wall or something. And there aren't any like bullet sponges. Some like large mechs require like several shots, and there've been like some large vehicle encounters. Helicopters, I guess. I don't know what you would call them, like vertical takeoff and landing, like little mini planes or something. I forget what they're called, but like those have taken a few rounds, but they're like boss battles, you know. And I think they're well paced and they're not too challenging. Oh, this planet is rich. It's gonna take more than 7 probes.
Probe away. Launching probe.
Man, I'm not gonna get to do anything fun before my time is up. It looks like I might get to Zaid's questline.
Probe launched.
But that'll probably be like a 30 minutes to an hour affair, if it's anything like Kasumi's. Kasumi's was cool. It had this like...
Probe launched.
What did it remind me of? It reminded me of like Hitman, what's that, Uncharted 4 when you're like, when you're at the dinner party.
Probe launched.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I do get like kind of, you know, sometimes I get like a little Uncharted vibe. You're taking cover a lot. You're, you know, obviously the combat is different. I understand it's different, but
Launching probe.
like there are some elements, and they come from the same generation of games, roughly. All right, I gotta go back to this mass relay. Refuel, add some probes. So this is what I'm talking about. This is kind of like, just make the probes unlimited. If I have to play this goofy mini game, like, don't make me go back and forth to the fuel depot. It's just obnoxious. And it would be different, like, if I had to make a choice at some point, if I had like limited resources, they're like, well, you know, you can either go to this solar system or this solar system, otherwise you'll run out of fuel. But I haven't really been in that position yet. It's just, well, you run out of fuel, you go back to the fuel depot, and then you spend your essentially unlimited credits to like get back in the game. So yeah, I would change that about this game. What would I change about the first game? Well, there are a lot of you find a new unexplored planet that you can land on. It would be like one out of every 3 or 4 planets in a solar system you could land on. Like, you would go to a new solar system, there'd be at least one planet you could land on. And you'd hop in the Mako, which is this like I don't know, all-terrain vehicle. And apparently in the original, which I'll get to, I actually have on Xbox 360, and I need to go back and play through it, contrast and compare. Apparently it controlled like shit. I mean, to be honest, it still controls a little janky. A little janky is maybe an understatement. So in the first one, you know, they tweak the controls. It's almost impossible to crash it now. Whereas I guess in the first game, you could accidentally just like, you could fall into like a ditch somewhere and like game over. And there were a few cases where I'd be in the Mako and I'd like inexplicably just fall through the floor. Like it would just glitch and the Mako would just like sink into the floor, and it'd be like down 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 down. That's the game over music, and you're like, okay, what happened? But for the most part, it was pretty good. There wasn't too many buggy instances. I think like once I fell in between some crates or something, and I got stuck and I had to reload. That maybe happened like twice. So pretty solid, non-buggy game. In the 30 hour, like every 10 hours, I might run into something that I had to like restart or was like super annoying. Mass Effect 2 has been pretty solid. I can't think of a time yet that I've like encountered a situation like that. All right, I think I can do this, or at least get started. No decent galactic dating services. To have a shot at romance, you need to talk to people. You know this game is old. talking to people is not a thing anymore. Alright, let's pick our crew. And again, we're going to do it randomly. I have 7 crew members now. We're going to bring Grunt. Oh, oh, Zaid has to come with me. Okay, so let me recalibrate. We're going to take Jacob, who has normal loyalty. Jacob seems cool, but I don't know how much I trust him yet. He's kind of a cipher. And like we've bonded over being soldiers. Pull. Let's upgrade Paul. And then Zaid. No, he's got nothing. Let's see. Have I don't think I picked up anything new that I need to load out to these two. He's got that new sniper rifle. Okay. Maybe 10 minutes. I'm not going to finish this side quest today, but we'll come back. Well, maybe today, maybe tonight. We'll come back and play this a little more.
Tapping into Blue Sun's communications. Stay tight and look out for ambushes.
Hostiles are cleared.
So when you spot a hostile or you come into a zone that combat is imminent, you'll pull your gun out. So I usually holster my gun. And
Squad Bravo, a shuttle landed near your location. Check it out.
Here we go. Keep close.
okay. I have no heavy weapon ammo. What do these guys got equipped? Shotgun, assault rifle. Dead bodies.
Shot in the back and left to rot. That's definitely Vito's style. Let's push ahead.
The environments are
Command to Bravo, take a position. Likely these people are not runaways.
a lot more detailed. Hey, it's these little monkeys from the first game. Alright. Typically when you're about to go into a fight, they'll throw some cover down for you, or they'll auto save your game.
Armed intruders incoming at the southern checkpoint.
There we go. There's some cover for you. Oh, Jesus. Alright, sometimes the cover screws me up a little bit. Blue Sun's trooper.
Firing an impact shot.
Let's switch to sniper rifle. I like this sniper rifle, by the way. Fires 3 bullets.
On target.
Alright, there's one left. Oh, I think I see him. See them. Ah, they're on the steps. It's all of them. The radar is a little different in this game.
Reinforcements incoming. We got your backs.
So it only pops up when... There we go. Yeah, it only pops up when you go to your ability wheel or your weapon selection wheel. Look out here.
Firing concussive shot! Clear the blast zone.
Alright, one more. There we go. We got shields on, so let's switch to disruptor ammo.
Get down! Roller.
All squads, fall back!
Oh, jeez. Interesting. Which way should I go? Well, why don't we go ahead and hit this bridge control, and then we'll come back. I'm assuming it opens the bridge here.
This is Commander Santiago. If any of you retreat while the intruders are still alive, I'll kill you myself. Now get the hell back out there!
Vito. Sounds like he hasn't changed.
I get the feeling you have a past with this Vito.
I knew he was a sadistic bastard back when we started the Blue Suns. The Suns only got meaner after he staged his little coup 20 years ago. So yeah, we have a past.
Why didn't anyone tell me you founded the Blue Suns?
Because it's not common knowledge. Vito wiped me out of the records. He ran the books, I led the men. Worked real well for a while. Then Vito decided to start hiring Batarians. Cheaper labor, he said. Goddamn terrorists, I said.
20 years is a long time to hold a grudge.
A grudge? Vito turned my men against me. He paid 6 of them to restrain me while he put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. For 20 years, I've seen that bastard every time I closed my eyes. Every time I sighted down on a target. Every time I heard a gunshot. Don't you call that a goddamn grudge?
You survived a gunshot to the head?
Yeah. And you survived your ship getting disintegrated. A stubborn enough person can survive just about anything. Rage is a hell of an anesthetic.
We'd better get moving.
They're at the southern axis. All squads mass at the gatehouse. Now!
They know we're here. Bring it on, you son of a bitch!
I feel like, did I miss something over here? Some steps, perhaps? Wow. I certainly missed this med kit with credits. No, I guess there's no way up here. So yeah. I thought maybe they were giving us branching pathways, but no. Getting railroaded. Which is fine. Not a judgment. Uh-oh. Almost got stuck there.
Squad Charlie, Delta, mass at the gatehouse.
Zaid Masani, you finally tracked me down.
Vito.
Don't be stupid, Zaid. I have a whole company of bloodthirsty bastards behind me, ready to kill or be killed on my command. Actually, take your shot. Give my men a reason to put you down like the mad dog you are. Again. What was that? Gone nearsighted, old friend.
Burn, you son of a bitch.
You just signed your death warrant, Masani.
What the hell are you doing?
Opening the gate.
Next time you're gonna blow something up, I want to know about it first.
Vito was confident. Had a lot of men. Now he's lost the home field advantage. If we keep up the pressure, no way he's getting out of here alive.
The mission is to save these workers, not burn them to death.
I came here to kill Vito Santiago. You want my help on your mission, you better make damn sure that man dies today.
Stick to the mission, Zaid, or we're gonna have a problem.
I think maybe we already do. I want Vito dead, Shepard, whatever the cost.
Get him! Gravity's what needs further, huh?
Who's next?
Saeed character. To be fair, I completely forgot why we were here. So I guess we're supposed to be saving someone? I don't know. Defeat the Blue Suns? We're supposed to like liberate the workers from the Blue Suns. See, this whole time I thought we were here for revenge. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop it right here. So I'm like 19 hours in. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll be back on later tonight. Sans the chitter chatter. Thanks for watching.